Hello and welcome to the third part of blood pressure on the channel Living by Design. Now today we're going to look at high blood pressure, the more prevalent one and quite dangerous as well, and that can lead to a lot more complications and often associated with diabetes. Now reasons for blood pressure increasing may be varied, and some of it is natural. For example, if we exercise, our blood pressure increases. That is, if I run, if I do housework, I know my heart rate speeds up, my heart works a bit harder, and the blood pressure increases because the body wants to get more oxygen to the muscles quickly. If you have done some exercise, wait at least an hour before you take your blood pressure. Hypertension sufferers, that says high blood pressure continuously. Although it varies, it is always above the norm, and that can be very dangerous. Reasons for high blood pressure may be varied. The blood vessels get narrower, the blood pressure increases. For example, hormonal conditions can cause the blood vessels to constrict. Other reasons for the blood vessels to narrow is the accumulation of plaque. If we just have a look at this artery here, if this becomes wider, the blood pressure will drop. If it becomes narrower, the blood pressure will increase, because it's the same amount of fluid in the system, but the space is less, so the pressure increases. Other reasons for increased blood pressure is when we have more fluid in the system than the body really needs, that it can handle normally. The reasons for that is if we have too much salt. We did say that salt draws water, and that will increase the volume of the blood, and the blood pressure then increases. Your kidneys have a good way of dealing with that, but if we have problems with the kidneys, the blood pressure may increase. The blood pressure may remain high for abnormal long periods. Also, an excess of proteins. Proteins can draw water, and the proteins lock in water. If, for example, we look at, if we soak legumes in water, for example, we see it swells up, the water can disappear, but the water is still there. And the same will happen in our blood vessels. If we have a lot of protein in the blood and it draws water, the blood becomes thicker. And that is a little bit more difficult for the body to get rid of. So too much protein is also not a good thing if the body cannot process it properly. Another reason for the blood pressure increasing is the thickness of the blood. If we're looking at the viscosity or the thickness of the blood, and I always equate this to making syrup. If we're going to make a syrup with a little bit of sugar in there, it's going to be very runny. But if we add another cup or two of sugar, it's going to be very thick and sticky, and it's going to be difficult to run. If we think of that in our blood vessels, how is the heart going to pump that blood, that thick syrup, in the blood vessels? And that can also stick onto the sides if there's already plaque in there. Now imagine the cumulative effect that we have if you already have extra cholesterol, if we have narrow blood vessels, and we have thick blood. Now in diabetics, if they don't control the intake of sugar, and I don't say don't have sugar, your body needs it, your brain needs it, but take it in moderately over extended periods of time, a little bit at a time, so that the blood doesn't become too thick at once. For the heart then, if we're going to look at the heart again, for the heart to pump that blood, this poor ventricle will have to work so hard to get that thick blood into the blood vessels, to the brain and down here, and for it to come back, it's also going to be problematic, and it will then have to be pumped to the lungs to be oxygenated. That will be even more difficult. So our sugar intake should be so that we do not cause the blood to become too thick, to cause the blood pressure to be high. If you have high blood pressure, substances like garlic, celery, parsley, and those kind of, and many herbs. If you add that to your diet, you'll find out that diuretics, they drive out the extra water from your body, and your blood pressure tends to stay normal. The explanations are very simple, hopefully for everybody to understand. It's not meant to be a technical lecture. It's for each and everyone to understand and just live a happy and healthier life. Thank you for watching.